This one simple truth is almost never spoken about in a doctor's office. And yet, this single insight, this one shift in my daily routine, completely ended my nightly trips to the bathroom, and it can do the same for you, starting tonight. Welcome, my friends. Professor Vitalis here with your daily dose of wisdom and wellness, where science and experience walk hand in hand. I know what it's like. I have been there myself. There was a time when I would wake up 3, 4, even 5 times a night, and I began to dread the setting of the sun. The night was no longer a time for rest, but a series of interruptions. Now, I sleep soundly until the morning, without a single interruption. And I want you to feel this profound change for yourself. When I first graduated from medical university and began my practice, I'll admit, I was dismissive of this problem. When older patients would complain about it, I would say, well, it's just age. It happens to everyone. But then, I reached that age myself, and I learned a powerful, humbling lesson. These so-called little things are not little at all. They have an immense power to shape the entire quality of our lives. Waking up once or twice in the night is not merely an inconvenience. It is a subtle poison that slowly erodes your health, steals your energy, and dims the joy of living. I experienced this firsthand. Can you even imagine what it feels like in your later years to sleep through the entire night, peacefully and without interruption? Most people have come to believe it's impossible, that these nightly disturbances are a non-negotiable part of aging. But my personal experience and my 5 decades of practice tell a very different story. The most important lesson I have learned is that the smallest, most consistent habits have the power to create the most enormous transformations in our health. Every morning, when my patients see me in my clinic, they ask, "Professor, how do you maintain such clarity, such energy at your age?" I always smile and give them the same simple answer: because I sleep well. Truly restorative sleep is a medicine more powerful than any pill in a bottle. So let me ask you, how many times did you wake up last night to use the restroom? Have you stopped to consider just how deeply this might be affecting your life? A few years ago, after I turned 70, I began waking up 2 or 3 times a night. In the autumn and winter, it would get even worse. The lack of deep consolidated sleep left me with a dull headache every morning. I found my concentration wavering during consultations. There were even moments I'd find myself starting to doze off at my own desk. It reached a point where I started wearing slippers with an elastic strap, just so I wouldn't trip and fall during one of my drowsy, nighttime journeys. Only those who have lived this can truly grasp how precious a full night's sleep becomes. I remember one afternoon with terrifying clarity. I was so foggy from lack of sleep that I nearly wrote the wrong prescription for a patient. It was a simple, yet potentially devastating mistake. Thankfully, a sharp-eyed nurse caught it in time. But that night, I lay awake, and not because I had to use the bathroom. I was thinking, this cannot continue. I am becoming a danger to the very people I have sworn to help. That was the moment I began my search for a real solution. I remember a patient of mine, an 82-year-old gentleman named Mr. Kim. He was waking up 6 times a night. He was in the depths of a severe depression. He told me, his face etched with exhaustion, "Professor, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Without sleep, life is just torture." His hollow eyes are something I will never forget. At first, he begged me for sleeping pills. But instead, I guided him to make a few simple lifestyle adjustments. Within 2 weeks, his nightly awakenings were cut in half. Within a month, his depression had lifted. He came into my office, grasped my hand, and said, "Professor, thanks to you, I feel the taste of life again." The pride I felt in that moment is difficult to put into words. Then there was Mrs. Park, another patient. One night, on her way to the bathroom, she fell and fractured her hip. Her recovery was long and arduous. It became difficult for her to move. She stopped leaving her home, and a profound sadness settled over her. So you see, this is not just about convenience. This is about preventing serious injuries and preserving your independence and your spirit. I went through this in my own home. We installed nightlights all along the hallway to the bathroom. My own wife started sleeping in a separate room because my constant tossing and turning was disturbing her rest. I tried medications, but they brought no relief. I had ultrasounds of my bladder. I had my prostate checked. The tests showed no serious abnormalities. The answer I received, again and again, was the one I used to give. It's just your age. My memory started to fail. I found myself forgetting the names of longtime patients. At family gatherings, I'd repeat the same stories, and I could see the worry flicker in my children's eyes. It was only later that I truly understood the culprit: chronic sleep deprivation. When the brain is denied sufficient deep sleep, it doesn't have the time to clear out metabolic waste, to consolidate memories, to repair itself. The result is a slow, steady decline in cognitive function. Perhaps you too have resigned yourself to this idea that frequent nightly awakenings are an unavoidable companion of aging. If so, the story of my own discovery may change your perspective. It began with a simple observation from my wife. One evening, she said to me, "You know, you drink a large bowl of broth with dinner every single night, and then you have a big plate of fruit for dessert. That was it. That was the spark." It was so simple, I almost dismissed it, but I was desperate. I simply changed the time I consumed liquids, and that very night, I woke up less often. As I gradually, consciously changed a few more of these small, ingrained habits, something remarkable happened. I began to sleep through the entire night. No pills, no special procedures, no exhausting effort. At first, I was skeptical myself. How could a solution this simple be so effective? It felt almost foolish. So I turned to the medical literature, and there it was, plain as day. The science fully supported it. The delicate balance of fluids in the body, the principles of hemodynamics, the powerful influence of our internal hormonal rhythms. It all made perfect sense. I felt a wave of shame wash over me. Here I was, a doctor with decades of experience, and I had overlooked these absolute fundamentals of human biology. The change in me was palpable. My staff at the clinic noticed it. "Professor," they'd say, "you look so refreshed. The tired look on your face in the mornings is gone." My focus during patient consultations became sharp and unwavering again. But most importantly, I developed a much deeper empathy for my patients because I had walked in their shoes. I could now offer them advice that was not just scientifically sound, but born from my own lived experience. This is precisely why I am speaking to you now, because this knowledge is too important not to share. It is my professional duty to tell you what I have learned. I feel a deep sense of responsibility, even shame, that for so many years I prescribed medications without first focusing on the most powerful tool we have, our daily lifestyle. Before you turn to pills or procedures, there are 5 simple things you can try, starting this very evening. These are the exact methods I tested on myself and have since recommended to hundreds of my patients. This is not a replacement for medical care, of course, but a powerful complement to it. And so often, these foundational habits are the most effective solution of all. Do you still worry about how many times you will have to get up tonight? How would you feel if, tonight, you didn't have to get up at all? If you could once again experience the pure bliss of waking up in the morning feeling rested, with a clear head, ready for the day. Here are the 5 habits that will help you end your nightly trips to the bathroom. First, and most critically, strictly limit your fluid intake after 6 p.m. The vast majority of urine your body produces during the night comes directly from the liquids you consume in the evening. As a general rule, it takes about 3 to 4 hours for liquid to pass through your system. Therefore, what you drink after dinner directly determines how full your bladder will be while you sleep. Our kidneys are brilliant, but they operate on a daily rhythm. During the day when we are active, they efficiently process and excrete water. At night, the body is designed to go into conservation mode, slowing down this process. However, with age, this natural rhythm can become less pronounced. The kidneys may continue to produce urine at a daytime rate, even when you're asleep. This means that every glass of water, every cup of tea, every spoonful of soup you have in the evening directly contributes to the problem. I had a patient, Mrs. Choi, who was 74. She used to wake up twice a night, every night. She had a habit of eating fruit and drinking herbal tea after dinner. The moment she stopped drinking anything after 6 p.m. and moved her fruit eating to the afternoon, she woke up only once on the very first night. She told me, "If I had known it was this simple, I would have started years ago." Thank you. Another patient, a 67-year-old man named Mr. Park, loved to have a can of beer around 8 p.m. It was his nightly ritual, but it caused him to get up 3 times a night. I explained to him that alcohol is a diuretic, meaning it actively signals the kidneys to produce more urine. I suggested he have his beer with lunch instead. At first he resisted, but after a week, he came back and said, "I've realized I enjoy a good night's sleep even more than I enjoy that beer." So the practical application is this. After 6 p.m., avoid water, broths, juicy fruits, tea, and alcohol. Opt for solid foods for your evening meal, not soups. If soup is served, eat only the solid contents, leaving the broth behind. If you feel thirsty, it's all right to take a very small sip of water, but no more than that. If your mouth feels dry, a better technique is to simply rinse your mouth with water and spit it out without swallowing. It is especially crucial to limit liquids in the 2 hours right before you go to bed. Of course, if you need to take medication, you can do so with the absolute minimum amount of water necessary. Remember also to account for hidden water in foods like melons, oranges, and even yogurt. But do not overdo it. Severe water restriction can lead to dehydration and constipation. Be sure to drink plenty of water throughout the day to stay well hydrated. And if you have any kidney or heart conditions, please consult your physician before making any significant changes to your fluid intake. Think about your own evening routine. Do you habitually have a few spoonfuls of soup, a cup of tea? This tiny, seemingly insignificant habit could be the very thing that is changing the entire landscape of your nights. Second habit, combat the swelling in your legs and ankles. This is a direct pathway to reducing the volume of nighttime urine. Throughout the day as we stand and sit, gravity naturally causes fluid to pool in the lower extremities. This is called gravitational edema. When you finally lie down to go to sleep, gravity's pull is neutralized. That accumulated fluid from your legs then re-enters your bloodstream, travels to your kidneys to be filtered, and is converted into urine. This sudden influx of fluid is one of the primary triggers for waking up at night. I had a patient, a 77-year-old fisherman named Mr. Lee. He spent his entire life standing on his feet, and his legs would swell significantly by the end of the day. He woke up 3 times a night like clockwork. I suggested a simple change. While he watched television in the evening, he should prop his legs up on the wall. The number of times he woke up dropped to just 1. He was astonished. Such a simple thing, he said, with such a powerful result. For him, the problem was always worse in the summer, when the heat would increase the swelling. But once he started this daily practice of elevating his legs, he began to sleep soundly, no matter the season. So, here is the practice. After your evening meal, for an hour or 2 while you are relaxing, elevate your legs so they are higher than your heart. You can do this by placing them on a stack of pillows or the arm of a sofa. But the most effective method is to lie on the floor and rest your legs straight up against a wall so your body forms an L shape. Just 15 to 20 minutes in this position can dramatically reduce the fluid in your legs, meaning that fluid is processed by your kidneys. Before you go to bed, not in the middle of the night, there are a few things to keep in mind. If you have high blood pressure or heart problems, don't raise your legs suddenly. Do it slowly and gently. If you feel any shortness of breath or pressure in your chest, stop immediately. If you have diabetes, be sure to check your feet for any sores or skin damage and use soft pillows to avoid creating pressure points. When you are watching television this evening, just notice, where are your feet? What if tonight you simply change their position? Third habit, you must go to the toilet right before you go to sleep, even if you do not feel the urge. If there is even a small amount of liquid in your bladder, your body is more sensitive to that sensation during sleep, and it can be enough to wake you. As we age, the functional capacity of our bladder tends to decrease, and its walls become less elastic. In our youth, the bladder could comfortably hold 300 or 400 milliliters. In our later years, the urge to go can be triggered by as little as 150 or 200 milliliters. And because our awareness of these internal signals is heightened during the lighter stages of sleep, even a small amount of urine can be enough to pull you out of your slumber. An 81-year-old patient of mine, Mrs. Shin, made it a non-negotiable habit to visit the restroom right before her head hit the pillow, whether she felt she needed to or not. After 3 months, she stopped waking up at night entirely. At first, it felt like a chore, she told me, but now it's second nature. Because of that one small step, I am finally getting deep restorative sleep. I also showed a male patient with an enlarged prostate a technique called double voiding. After you urinate, wait for 20–30 seconds, then lean forward and try again. This helps to expel any residual urine that was left behind. He reported that this simple addition to his routine made a significant difference. The advice is straightforward. Make a final trip to the bathroom a mandatory part of your bedtime ritual. Do not get into bed, even if you are feeling sleepy, until you have done this. And when you are there, do not rush. Concentrate on the task. Relax and allow your bladder to empty completely. For men, sitting down to urinate can often help to relax the pelvic floor muscles, allowing for a more complete emptying of the bladder. If you take diuretic medications for a heart or kidney condition, speak with your doctor about the timing. Taking them in the morning rather than the evening can make a world of difference for your sleep. Do you remember when you last visited the restroom before bed last night? Perhaps tonight you can make one more trip just in case. Fourth habit, the bedroom is a no-phone zone. The blue light emitted from your smartphone screen is a powerful signal to your brain. It essentially tells your internal clock that it is still daytime. This light suppresses the production of melatonin, the hormone that governs sleep. But it does something else, something critically important for this issue. It also disrupts the production of another hormone called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. During the night, your body is supposed to release ADH to tell your kidneys to slow down and produce less urine, allowing for long, uninterrupted sleep. When you expose your eyes to blue light before bed, the secretion of both melatonin and ADH is thrown off, your entire circadian rhythm is disturbed, and your kidneys keep producing urine at a daytime rate. Furthermore, if you are consuming content that is stressful, exciting, or anxiety-provoking, like reading the news or engaging in a heated online debate, you activate your sympathetic nervous system, the body's fight-or-flight response. This puts you in a state of alert, making it difficult to fall asleep in the first place. A patient of mine, Mr. Cho, 79, used to fall asleep every night with his phone in his hand, scrolling through political news. When I convinced him to leave his phone charging in another room, the frequency of his nightly awakenings was cut in half. It felt strange at first to fall asleep without it, he admitted, but my sleep is so much deeper now. So what can you do? It's incredibly simple in principle. Leave your phone and all other electronic devices out of the bedroom. The bedroom should be for sleep and intimacy only. Ideally, stop using all screens, phones, tablets, computers, televisions, at least 1 hour before you intend to go to sleep. Create a sleep sanctuary that is dark, quiet, and cool. Instead of scrolling, you could read a paper book, listen to calming music, or do some light stretching. If you absolutely must use your phone as an alarm clock, switch it to airplane mode and turn it face down so the screen does not light up. But an old-fashioned alarm clock is a far better choice. Do you fall asleep with the glow of a screen on your face? What if tonight you declared your bedroom a screen-free zone? And the fifth and final habit, when you do wake up in the night, do not immediately jump out of bed and run to the toilet. Very often, the problem is not a full bladder, but a sleep habit. Our brains are incredible machines for creating patterns. If you wake up at 2 a.m. a few nights in a row and immediately go to the bathroom, your brain learns this association. It creates a conditioned awakening. It will start to wake you up at 2 a.m. out of habit, even when your bladder's not full. The sleep cycle itself involves brief, natural moments of waking between stages. If you turn every one of these into a trip to the bathroom, you reinforce a pattern that is very difficult to break. You must interrupt this cycle. A patient named Mrs. Moon used to get up 4 times per night. It was a deeply ingrained pattern. I coached her to try to resist the urge. When she woke up, she was to stay in bed and try to fall back asleep. The first few nights were a genuine battle for her, she said, but within 2 weeks, her nightly awakenings had dropped to just 1. When you lie back down, close your eyes and focus on your breath. A simple box breathing technique can be very calming. Inhale slowly for 4 counts, hold your breath for 4 counts, exhale slowly for 4 counts, and hold for 4 counts. Repeat this cycle 5 to 10 times. You may be surprised how often you simply drift back to sleep. Now, let me be very clear. If you are feeling genuine pain or strong discomfort, do not force yourself to hold it. And if you have a diagnosed condition like an enlarged prostate or incontinence, you must consult your doctor. This method is not about enduring pain, it is about breaking a psychological habit of pointless awakenings. So I ask you, when you wake up in the night, is your first move to throw off the covers and head for the door? What if tonight you just waited for a few minutes first? Try to apply just one of the methods I've shared with you. Just one, starting tonight. It can truly change everything. Any sign of illness in the body is a signal, a message. The one who recognizes the signal earliest is the one who begins to heal the fastest. Choose one thing. Limiting your evening fluids, elevating your legs, the final trip to the restroom, leaving your phone in the living room, or waiting before you get up. Try it. And perhaps tomorrow morning, you will wake up with a completely different feeling. A feeling of vigor, of clarity, of being fully restored. Don't try to do everything at once. That only creates more stress. Start with one, and when you feel the benefit, gradually add another. This is the key to sustainable, lasting change. Patients of mine have been able to stop taking sleeping pills with these methods. Pills can force you into unconsciousness, but they often disrupt the natural architecture of your sleep, robbing you of the deep restorative stages you need most. They are not a long-term solution. Changing your lifestyle is the safest, most effective path to true rest. After all my years of practice, I am more convinced than ever that the most powerful methods are often the simplest. Small daily habits have a far more profound effect than most medicines. When you reclaim your nights, your quality of life improves dramatically. You wake up with energy. Your day is more productive. Your memory and concentration sharpen. Your risk of falls and injury plummets. Your entire body grows stronger. And most importantly, you rid yourself of the constant low-level stress and anxiety that comes with every sunset. Knowledge only works when you apply it. I'm Professor Vitalis. Stay curious, stay healthy, and never stop learning.